Part 120. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1191. What Xiaoming never expected was that his Hades and his underworld would have a booming business on the first day of opening. The civil servant clones of each level collected large groups of souls in a very short period of time and were extremely full. They had to return to the underworld to unload every once in a while. Faced with the densely packed souls in the underworld, Xiaoming's head was about to explode. If he read their life stories one by one, even if there were 36 judges to share the burden, it would be too late. Let's not talk about anything else, let's just not read it. Countless swords of reward and punishment shot out from Hades and the judges, hitting these souls directly. The swords of reward and punishment will cause harm and trigger punishment when they pierce living people. If they pierce souls, it will be the ultimate judgment of the underworld. After being judged and rewarded, the souls will naturally transfer to the soul gems and re-enter the 6 reincarnations. As countless souls re-enter the 6 reincarnations, the merits fed back to Xiaoming by the soul gems are rising like mushrooms after rain. The dull orange source energy tree also began to gradually brighten. This is Xiaoming, who can bring a planet full of vitality but without the 6 reincarnations under his jurisdiction, so he can gain so much merit. The current Quafu star is a treasure of merit. After most of the souls accumulated on it are transcended by the underworld, there will not be so many merits to earn. In order to seize the time, Green Xiaoming and Silver Xiaoming also put down their work and entered their own underworld to help transcend souls. Because there were too many souls transcended at one time, Xiaoming obtained a huge amount of source energy. Not only did he pay off the debt of the orange source energy tree, but he also had enough to help complete the construction of his own underworld. Several Xiaomings were busy from October 3rd to 7th, and they were considered to have completed the transcendence of a large number of souls. Next, there were only souls generated by the automatic death of the planet every day. This number is actually not small. However, Xiaoming's 36 judges, that is, those Tiangang Star Hades fighters, are enough to deal with it. Even from time to time, a few can be dispatched to do things. Of course, this is based on the fact that the judge does not waste time checking the life of each soul. It doesn't matter if you check a few souls occasionally. It's definitely not okay if you check too many. It's too much to handle. Xiaoming was puzzled. When he entered the underworld in the Saint Seiya world, he didn't feel so busy. They are probably lazy. Zhang Xiaoming's underworld doesn't have to worry about this problem. Because there is a powerful prosecutor here. Do you remember the goddess Eva from Pandora, the reporter possessed by the mind beast? She can actually enter Xiaoming's underworld, worthy of being a goddess. There are N reporters Eva, carrying cameras and running around in the underworld. Xiaoming should not think about being lazy. For the needs of the battle, Xiaoming is likely to mobilize the power of the underworld. But enough manpower must be left to maintain the normal operation of the underworld. So Xiaoming estimated that he could mobilize at most 500 to 600 ghost messengers, 20 to 30 earthly evil star Hades warriors, and 7 to 8 heavenly star Hades warriors. Among them, heavenly star Hades warriors are very important high-end combat forces. After all, they have the bonus of heavenly star Hades clothes, which covers all levels from B to A+. The original 3 giants of Hades warriors almost all have combat power close to S level, at least A and level. However, in Xiaoming's underworld, there is no ability to restore their full combat power. After all, the strength of Quafu Hades himself is just like that. His subordinates can't be too strong. After tossing to this extent, Xiaoming gave up the idea of continuing to expand the jurisdiction of the underworld. No matter how big the head is, it is not enough to maintain a Quafu star with his current ability. If he continues to expand, it will be a bit overestimated. The orange source can take root and become a tree in the soul world, which means that Xiaoming can condense the fifth soul. After being in the underworld/soul gem for so long, Xiaoming has a little understanding of the soul gem. Things like condensing souls can be done with half the effort here. Therefore, the four Xiaomings worked hard together, and in just a moment, they successfully condensed the fifth soul, Orange Xiaoming. Because there is no body, there is no physical attribute for the time being, and the mental power is about sea level. The initial condition is better than the others. With the mentality of not taking advantage of it, it will expire and become invalid. Orange Xiaoming borrowed the body of the Insect King and went to the Chu galaxy for a walk. Sure enough, after the blessing of the insect spirit sea, Orange Xiaoming's mental power rose to B level. Next, it's time to choose a body for this soul. You must know that the interview in the underworld is completely completed at this time. Xiaoming does not need to stay in the soul gem every moment, but can participate in the reincarnation task. Today is Friday, October 7th. In 2 days, it will be the day for the weekly task in the reincarnation space. If Orange Xiaoming does not have a body, he cannot leave the soul gem, and then he cannot enter the reincarnation space. So the matter of the body must be taken care of quickly. It is not difficult to make a body, and it is even easier to take over a body. With Xiaoming's current strength, it is easy to do it. Suddenly, Zhang Xiaoming had an idea and remembered something. Now he already has the body of the Zerg, the body of the Protoss, and the body of a human. Let's call Red Xiaoming the God King. God King Red Xiaoming has obtained the inheritance of the Protoss. Zerg King Green Xiaoming is now in the Zerg system and has become the dominant position. He can barely be regarded as having obtained part of the inheritance. Obviously, among the three alien races, only the human race's inheritance did not fall on his head. Why is this so? Xiaoming estimated that there may be two situations. The first is that the alien race 1.5 million years ago did not leave any inheritance at all. Since there is no inheritance left, there is no inheritance. The second is that the alien race did leave a legacy. This can be divided into two different situations. A is that the human race's inheritance has never been inherited by anyone and is in a vacant state. B is that the human race's inheritance has found a new owner. Xiaoming guessed that since both the Zerg and the Protoss can leave a legacy, the human race, who can fight them equally, should not be bad. So it is very likely that a legacy was left. But it is hard to say whether this legacy has found a new owner. The human history of Pangu Star is very long, and there are also signs of long-term human activities on Nuwa Star. It is not surprising that some of them have obtained the inheritance of the alien race. However, judging from the technological level of humans on the two planets, they are too far away from the alien race. This shows that even if someone obtained the inheritance, he could not develop human technology. Of course, it is also possible that they are like Xiaoming, who has found a private world to play by himself. It is normal for Xiaoming not to see them. Xiaoming is considering whether this thing is worth a brave attempt. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1192. Xiaoming has a guess. Although the alien race and the Pangu human race 1.5 million years ago are both called human race, they look exactly the same. But there may be slight differences between the two. That is to say, at the DNA level, two human races will be divided into two similar species, rather than the same species. Perhaps it is because of such a slight difference that the inheritance of the human race has not been obtained by the humans of Pangu planet so far. After all, the genes are different. How can we solve this problem? Judging from the fact that the descendants of the Zerg race have multiplied in the Chu galaxy, and the remains of the God race have appeared in the Huangdi galaxy. Except for the one that crossed the space gate and flew to Pangu Star, the last spaceships of the human race should have gone to the Yandi galaxy. It is very likely that he lived on the Nuwa planet. There are native humans living on Nuwa planet. Xiaoming has not seen it personally, but this is the news from various sources. Xiaoming had no idea what the humans on Nuwa planet were like and how far they were from Pangu planet. If they are the descendants of the alien race, they should have acquired the inheritance of the human race. However, for some reason, the human race has not been able to develop a high-tech civilization on Nuwa planet. Or, the humans on Nuwa planet, like the humans on Pangu planet, are somewhat different from the alien races at the DNA level, so they have not been inherited. There is also the possibility mentioned above. Maybe the person who has received the inheritance has found a private world and played on his own. It is impossible to determine which specific situation it is. Even if Xiaoming went to Nuwa planet to conduct a large-scale search, he probably wouldn't be able to find anything. Not to mention that there are many strong people on that planet, Xiaoming may not be able to defeat them. Even if he met the person who inherited the human race face to face, Xiaoming wouldn't recognize him. Therefore, Xiaoming has no intention of going to Nuwa planet to explore. Just consider whether to take a risk. I bet that the inheritance of the human race has not yet been obtained by anyone, and I borrowed the wish-making ability of my Lord Acha's Infinity Glove to give Cheng Xiaoming an alien body. In this way, Cheng Xiaoming should be qualified to obtain that inheritance. If an accident occurs, even if the body of the alien race is used, the inheritance will not be obtained. That doesn't matter, just use that body to continue living. Anyway, Cheng Xiaoming also needs a physical explanation. If we succeed, we will make a lot of money. If we fail, we will not lose. The risk is worth taking. Xiaoming can contact my Lord Acha through the Soul Gem. But the key is whether people are willing to deal with Xiaoming. It's just like making a phone call. Xiaoming can dial the number and the phone will ring, but Acha doesn't necessarily answer it right away. As Pluto, her concept of time is likely to be vague. In her opinion, she might have delayed answering the phone for a while, but the actual time might have passed tens of millions of years. What should I do if I miss the call? My master, Acha, can you still call me back? And her level is too high. If she calls Xiaoming, she will be connected directly without waiting at all. But this time, Xiaoming's call request was picked up instantly by my master Acha. The soul worlds of both parties are connected again. My master Acha and Zhao Li both changed their clothes, but they still did the same things. Zhao Li patted Acha's back and rubbed her shoulders very attentively. Xiaoming Ming, you can do it. You have just become Pluto and you can get so many merits. What have you done? Even I have got a lot of merits. Xiaoming knew what she meant. My Lord Acha is Xiaoming's guide into the underworld. For every merit Xiaoming obtains, Acha will gain a little bit of it. Just like collecting taxes. This tax rate is actually very low, and Acha has many civil servants who pay her taxes, plus her own clones at all levels. She would definitely look down on a little merit. Today, it was because Xiaoming conquered the entire planet and accumulated souls for who knows how long that he gained a lot of merit in a short period of time. So much so that the tax collected by my Lord Acha surprised her a little. Of course, she was not greedy for money, but worried that Xiaoming might do something bad for the sake of merit. A new Pluto is not worth a penny. It doesn't matter if you learn badly. But Xiaoming is the one who can recharge her infinity gauntlet, and Acha attaches great importance to him. So we can answer the phone in seconds. If Xiaoming never contacts her, maybe she will find Xiaoming directly. When his immediate boss had questions, Xiaoming obediently told him about Quafu Star, even the 3-star systems of Yan and Huang. Anyway, it is impossible for him to expand in the short term. It is also a good thing for Acha to take over other territories so that the undead can enter the 6 paths of reincarnation. Maybe there will be some merit. Really, before Acha could speak, official Zhao jumped up and said, "My Lord Acha, please allow official Zhao to go." Acha raised the index and middle fingers of her left hand, and Zhao Li immediately swallowed back what he was about to say. I don't know if it's because he's well behaved and sensible or because ACHA used some kind of ability. My master Acha looked a little solemn and said, "Let me take a look first before talking." After that, he closed his beautiful eyes, only his eyelashes trembled slightly. After a long while, she opened her big eyes, gently twitched the corners of her mouth and said with a smile, "Yin Chui Siting, you really know how to play." Zhao Li was fidgeting on the sidelines, wanting to say something, but he didn't dare to say it for fear of making ACHA angry. The original cool and awkward image is gone. To be honest, every time Xiaoming saw him, he was giving people massages. It's actually not that cool. ACHA rolled his eyes at him and said angrily, "Why are you in such a hurry? What's yours is yours, and what's not yours is useless to be anxious." After that, he looked at Xiaoming and asked, "Xiaomingming, you are in such a hurry to find me, aren't you, just to give me 3-star systems?" After hearing this, Zhao Li calmed down. Sure enough, there are 3-star systems. Since it is confirmed that there is no problem. Xiaoming shook his head. Why would he be so anxious to give a gift? Of course, he is asking for help. So he told ACHA in detail about his request to reincarnate as an alien race with the help of the Infinity Gauntlet. Because ACHA has observed the Yanhuang 3-star systems, it is not surprising at this time. However, her eyes always make Xiaoming feel that there is something else. It's the kind of feeling that I know something, but I don't tell you. It seems that the Yanhuang 3-star systems are not as simple as Xiaoming described. My master ACHA is at such a high level. It is normal for her to see things that Xiaoming can't see. Xiaoming didn't care much. I just hope she can agree to my request. However, Acha's eyes rolled around, and it was obvious that she was planning something. As a senior civil servant in the underworld, the possibility of her harming Xiaoming was basically zero, but the possibility of her playing some pranks and playing tricks on Xiaoming was more than 7, 8, or 95%. As time went by, looking at the strange smile on Acha's lips, Xiaoming kept raising his psychological expectations, hoping that the pranks she played would not be too deceptive. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1193. You are greedy, how come you even want that inheritance? My Lord H's tone was teasing, with unclear meaning. Xiaoming also felt that she was right, and he was indeed a little greedy. He scratched his head a little embarrassedly. Acha continued, but then again, you are from my underworld. It is much better to be in your hands than in the hands of some ambitious people. Okay, I will help you with this matter. Hearing this, Xiaoming's eyes lit up immediately, and 5 Xiaoming stared at Acha with 10 eyes, just like a pervert seeing a beautiful woman. Well, in fact, Acha is definitely a great beauty, but Xiaoming is just a thief with a heart but no courage. My lord doesn't care about his eyes. But you have to do something for me first, and after you finish it, I will make a wish for you. LLL Omega, Xiaoming's forehead was covered with black lines, and he knew it was not that simple. Sure enough, there was a but waiting for him. People have to bow their heads under the eaves, and he answered with a pleasing look, My lord, please tell me what you want. I will do it even if I die. Haha, Acha laughed, you're right, this matter really requires you to die many times. Seeing that Xiaoming's souls were stunned, Acha smiled and said, Don't worry, it's okay, only this new soul will die, a few times, the others will not be affected. The feelings, memories, etc. of the 5 souls are interoperable. Even if only Orange Xiaoming will die, the others will still share the feeling of death at the same time. Moreover, How can she do this? Only let Orange Xiaoming die, while the other souls are still alive. Anyway, Xiaoming himself can't do it. If any of Xiaoming's bodies is destroyed, the soul will automatically run to other bodies. At present, there has been no situation that can trap Xiaoming's single soul. Of course, this is also related to Xiaoming's seldom contact with the world of immortals. If I really have to experience investiture of the gods or something like that, I don't believe that those saints can't handle Xiaoming. My master Hua was too lazy to explain to Xiaoming, mainly because the level difference was too big. Even if she explained it carefully, Xiaoming couldn't understand it at all. So she just forced it. She flipped her slender hand, and a small disc-shaped object floated on her right hand. Go, with a light shout, the object entered Xiaoming's soul world and attached to Orange Xiaoming. Orange Xiaoming hurriedly used both hands to feel on his body, but didn't feel any changes. This is the soul world, and Orange Xiaoming is also in the state of soul. In fact, he has no body. The so-called scratching his head and touching himself are just projections of his thoughts. Suddenly a ray of light flashed, and Xiaoming found that he seemed to have turned into a baby, being held by a pair of soft arms. He smelled a fragrance at the tip of his nose, and his ears also felt rubbed. It seemed that something was strange. At this time, an extremely gentle voice came from his ear, "Rabbit is so cute, it will be even cuter if it is made into spicy rabbit cubes, don't you think so?" The voice of the person who spoke was very nice, and Xiaoming also thought that it should be a beautiful woman by imagination. Could it be that he was her child? If so, you should be more careful. How can a little baby like me eat spicy rabbit? Can my stomach bear it? However, the next second, Cheng Xiaoming felt his body fall, and he seemed to be lifted up by someone holding his ears with one hand. No, how can a person's two ears be like this, oh my! It seems that I am the rabbit, girl, spare my life, rabbit. Xiaoming was anxious and wanted to activate the mental shield. I am not physically strong, but the mental shield can provide extremely strong defense. Unfortunately, his efforts were in vain. Xiaoming found that the supernatural energy was suppressed very thoroughly in this world, and he could not use his mental power at all. Gradually, a fire appeared in the field of vision, and several young men and women were grilling around the fire. The handsome man and the beautiful woman represented the beauty of youth. But in the eyes of the rabbit, these people were like giants, without any sense of beauty. Judging from their clothes, they should be modern people, but I don't know which corner of the universe this is. Why does it look exactly like Pangu? This is not the time to think about this. My master Hua said that Orange Xiaoming needs to die several times. I guess he will die here for the first time. If I can choose, I hope those people will be gentle, not too cruel, and not too painful. Xiaoming, who has lost all his supernatural energy, is now meat on the chopping board. What should I do? In the eyes of those young men, the rabbit held in the hands of his companion seemed to know its fate. It fluttered hard for a while and then stopped moving. Everyone came over curiously to take a closer look. It turned out that the rabbit had been scared to death. It really deserves to be the most timid animal. A train platform that looks very retro and old. There are 4 big black characters on the top of the front wall, from left to right, Zhenbao Chunchang. The exit of the platform is surrounded by an iron fence, leaving a smaller entrance. There are some soldiers in gray military uniforms and cotton hats guarding the fence. The rifles in the soldiers' hands also looked very outdated. Xiaoming didn't even know what era they were from. At the smaller entrance, there was a rectangular table with several soldiers sitting behind it and a man who looked like an officer standing behind them. Outside the iron fence, there were many ordinary people crowded here. They were all waiting to buy tickets to get on the train. Seeing the people's clothes, Xiaoming seemed to remember something. Such a picture also appeared in the book Far Island's Strange Man. Now it should be the Republic of China period on the parallel world Earth. The text should be read from right to left. So this place is actually Changchunbao railway station. But it is difficult to judge which era it is. The plot of this reincarnation world has not yet officially begun, and all the characters in the plot are in a static state. Only the reincarnations have a short time to communicate with each other. A girl stretched out her hand to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh my God, brother, I haven't seen you for a few days, why is there another one? Are you sleeping? This girl is Xiaoming's sister Lu Xiajing Er. She wore a small flower cotton jacket worn by Northeast people during the Republic of China, tied 2 braids, and looked so rustic. There were 5 big men in cotton coats standing around her, 4 of whom looked almost the same, namely Silver Xiaoming, Green Xiaoming, Yellow Xiaoming, and Red Xiaoming. This shows that the energy level of this world is not high, because the Insect King and the God King both appeared in human form. The strength of the 4 of them is only around D level. There was another big man who looked very different from them. This was Orange Xiaoming. His strength was not even E level, just an ordinary person with weak physical strength. Fortunately, he was not a rabbit. Xiaoming's followers were all in Guangmingding. Now, they couldn't help. But then again, although they couldn't help, time was still running synchronously. Staying in Guangmingding could take the opportunity to practice. In addition, the reincarnation space had already had a common practice for the civil servants of the underworld to become reincarnations. Only the strongest clone could be arranged to fight, and the others were locked in his part of the underworld. Xiaoming dispatched 5 bodies, which was a special case. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1194. This is what happened. The disc that my master Acha put into Cheng Xiaoming's soul was a treasure she made herself. Its full name is 9 Heavens and 10 Earths, Bodhisattvas shaking their heads in fear of the reincarnation disc of the 10,000 worlds. It is abbreviated as Reincarnation Disc. When she said the full name seriously, not to mention Xiaoming, even Zhao Li laughed. My master was so angry that he frowned, saying that you 2 guys didn't know this joke and wasted your feelings. However, Zhao Li secretly gave it a nickname, Placenta. When Acha found out, he beat him up. This is a later story. According to Acha herself, this treasure was made by her to imitate the 6 paths of reincarnation well in order to focus on her business. Anyway, she said so, and Xiaoming and Zhao Li both believed it. The effect of this treasure is to allow a soul to reincarnate. The prerequisite for reincarnation is that you can reincarnate after death, and your memory will not be erased. Cheng Xiaoming was chosen by my master to test this treasure. As a result, he was unlucky. He was reincarnated as a rabbit in his first life, and it was a rabbit that was about to be made into spicy rabbit cubes. Xiaoming didn't want to experience the feeling of being slaughtered and cooked. So he pouted his mouth with grievance, stared at Acha with 4 pairs of watery eyes. It made her feel sick. I had to tell Xiaoming a trick. This reincarnation disc has another rule. That is, every time the holder enters and exits the reincarnation world, he will be reincarnated once. When entering the reincarnation world, he will be reborn as an inconspicuous plot character in the space. It is the kind played by extras. When he returns to the reincarnation space, he is in the state of a soul, and he will be reincarnated again when he returns to the real world. Xiaoming guessed that this was Acha's real purpose. Xiaoming didn't know what it was for, and he didn't want to speculate. As long as it could solve the dilemma of Cheng Xiaoming as a rabbit, it would be fine. Since you can reincarnate after entering the reincarnation world, let's do it. I haven't done reincarnation tasks for a long time. Xiaoming immediately thought of Xian Shui's invitation to join a team last month. How about today? No. Thinking of Xi and Shui, Xiaoming immediately thought of his sister. So he made a special trip to the Zongde Chang'an and found his sister. Originally, with the defense force of Chang'an Royal Military Medical University, Xiaoming could not teleport directly in. Unless he broke in. But now it's different. Xiaoming has officially become a civil servant in the underworld, and he can enter and exit most places in the real Pangu Star at will. At this time, the military training for freshmen has ended, but my sister's dormitory is still the same, and the members are still the same. In the double bedroom, my sister and Li Qingzhao are each studying. Occasionally chatting. When Yin Xiaoming arrived, he used the power of the underworld to become invisible, and Li Qingzhao, who was in the same room, did not see Xiaoming. At the same time, Xiaoming arranged a 7 Yao shadow clone to find Brother Wen. He planned to do a mission with the two of them. Mainly to get together. A few days ago, October 4th was the Double Ninth Festival. It is a day to reunite with family. Because Xiaoming was busy saving the souls of Quafu Star, he had no time to see his sister, and his sister was a little angry. Today, her brother came to her specially to make her calm down and she agreed happily. When Ge had some important things to do. Although going to the reincarnation space would not delay real time, it would interrupt his thoughts. So, he did not participate in this mission. Xiao Xiao is also a reincarnation, but he is practicing in the private world. Xiaoming did not want to interrupt his practice process and did not bring him. In order not to show partiality, he did not bring Xiao Shening. After being promoted to S level, Xiaoming's self-confidence increased greatly, and he did not plan to bring too many people. In the evening of October 7th, Xiaoming and Xiao Jing brother and sister, entered the reincarnation space and formed a team to play. The reincarnation world they randomly came to was called Drunken Master 2. The scene at the train station was the opening stage of Drunken Master 2. After entering this world, as expected, Orange Xiaoming was no longer a rabbit, but reincarnated as an ordinary person in the plot. Xiaoming didn't take his sister's joke seriously. He turned to ask his sister what her main task was. Main task 1, assist Huang Fiheng to retrieve the box. I have read the name Huang Fiheng in The Strange Man of Far Island. But the article is very short. I only know that he is from Foshan, Guangdong, a master of Hongquan in the late Qing dynasty and early Republic of China, and a master of Lingnan martial arts. He is also a famous Chinese medicine practitioner who saves the world and heals the wounded. There is not much other information. In this case, there is no internal force in the world of Drunken Master 2. Without internal force, Xiaoming's 18 dragon palms may not be as effective as military boxing. Fortunately, except for the newcomer Orange Xiaoming, including his sister Xiao Jing, they are all at the peak of physical fitness in this world. It should still be playable. Besides, even if the task is not completed, it doesn't matter. The brother and sister don't need that little point at all. Just treat it as a vacation here. The first step is to find this Huang Fiheng. At this time, the plot of this world officially began, and all the characters started to move. The officer-like man walked through the crowd arrogantly, telling everyone to take out the valuables and declare them for tax, otherwise the goods would be confiscated and a tenfold fine would be imposed. At this time, a middle-aged man with a righteous face said to a young man with a big nose, "Fiheng, take out the ginseng and declare it." The young man said with difficulty, "Dad, it costs at least $50 to declare ginseng. Why don't we tie it in the crotch of our pants and sneak through the customs?" At this time, a man who looked like a servant took out a box wrapped in yellow cloth from his bag and handed it to the young man. It seemed to be the ginseng that the father and son were talking about. The servant patted the young man and said, "No, young master. It is tied in the crotch of the master's pants." People thought that the master had a hernia, so they would not search him, right? The young man smiled immediately, "Hey, this is a good idea. As a result, the two of them were hit on the head by the middle-aged man. Asshole, asshole. You two always come up with bad ideas. These three people were not far from Xiaoming and the others. There was no need to ask. The young man must be the character Huang Fihung in the plot. It's right to follow him. The space asked his sister to help him get the box back, which should be the box containing ginseng. Could it be stolen in a while? The brothers and sisters quickly observed. It turned out that it was not stolen, but because Huang Fihung was reluctant to pay taxes, he secretly put the box into the property carried by the British consul. During this period, the British Empire was the world's leader, and the Chinese warlords certainly didn't dare to provoke the British consul. Not to mention collecting taxes, they didn't even have the power and courage to check. Huang Fihung did find a good place to hide his things. But how would he get them back later? I'm afraid he would have to steal them back. No wonder this is the first main quest. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1195. Young people are fearless and act on impulse without consideration. Just to save $50 in tax, he dared to hide things in the luggage of the British consul and was ready to find an opportunity to steal them back. Let's not talk about how strict the defense of a country's consul is, and whether it is possible to steal them back. Even if they can steal them back, there will inevitably be clues left. If they are discovered, can the Huang family afford it? If they are not careful, it will be a disaster that the family will be destroyed. $50 is not a small amount, but it is not worth taking such a big risk. Of course, Xiaoming can understand why Huang Fihung did this. The factor of money is only one aspect, the other is to take the opportunity to vent his dissatisfaction with the warlord's arbitrary charges and the arrogant foreign consuls. His behavior is indeed inappropriate, but his sentiment of resisting the tyranny of warlords and the invasion of imperialism is still commendable. It can be said that Huang Fihung at this time is an angry young man who acts on his momentary emotions. It is just to discuss the other party. He had never really thought about the situation of various countries, the strategies of imperialism, and the future development direction of the Republic of China. Therefore, Huang Fihung did not have a long-term plan or short-term plan to fight against warlords and imperialism, and he did not even have the confidence to fight to the end. He just had a very simple spirit of resistance. Such a person is rare, and he is definitely much better than an otaku like himself. Xiaoming felt that he was not steady enough in doing things, and he also wanted to point out a clear way for him. Seeing that the British consul and his party had all boarded the train, the officer waved his hand and ordered, "Let them go." So, the people outside the fence rushed in like a tide. Accept inspection, pay taxes, and then board the train. Xiaoming saw the legendary scene with his own eyes. The people did not go through the door when they got on the train, but climbed in through the window one by one. Huang Fihung and his servant Ji Guko, who were both smart, also got in through the window and occupied the seats. The train has three types of carriages. The front one is the premium carriage, which is full of foreigners. The British consul naturally lives there. Next is the carriage with seats that Huang Fihung's family bought tickets for. It is not too crowded. There are even a few empty seats. The carriage with all standing tickets is the one behind. There are no seats. It is crowded like a can of sardines. Fortunately, several Xiaomings have some money. Orange Xiaoming is a poor local, so the other Xiaomings just give him some money. They bought seat tickets. It is a coincidence that the six of them sat near Huang Fihung's family. Silver Xiaoming, Green Xiaoming, Yellow Xiaoming, and Red Xiaoming look like quadruplets, so they naturally sit together, next to the Huang family. Orange Xiaoming and Xiao Jing sat next to the Huang family. There is a handsome guy in this seat, with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes, and Xiao Jing can't help but look a little crazy. A small thing happened when everyone took their seats. A thief stole Huang Fiheng's father's wallet. As a result, Mr. Huang was agile and took the wallet back, and punched the thief as a punishment. The thief ran away, and Huang Fiheng immediately chased him. Just passing by the handsome guy, Xiao Ming, and others, Xiao Jing'er couldn't bear it, and quietly hit the thief's right arm with a fist. It didn't hurt much. The thief was busy running away and thought he had hit something, and didn't care at all. In a few days, he will find that this right arm is no longer flexible. Although his daily life is not affected, he can't think of stealing things again. Xiao Jing'er's skill is very good. Xiao Ming asked himself that with his current physical fitness, he could easily knock down or even kill the thief, but he couldn't easily and lightly abolish his ability to steal. He couldn't help but look at his sister with admiration. She also learned a lot in the reincarnation space. At the same time, he also looked at the handsome guy with admiration. Huang Fiheng chased for 2 steps before his father called him back, and he also instilled in him the principle of forgiving others when you can. The train started. According to the original plot, a small episode happened next. The Huang family father and son were playing chess, and the handsome guy over there was playing baseball with his friends. Unexpectedly, one of them missed and hit the young servant Ji Gyuko. The handsome guy came over to apologize, which was considered a good relationship. However, this life did not develop like this. The handsome guy chatted with Xiao Jing'er and seemed to admire his sister very much. On the other side, Huang Fiheng saw that the 4 Xiao Mings looked exactly the same, and he was also very interested, so he started chatting with Xiao Ming. Xiao Ming reported the fake names he often used, such as the leader's left guard, etc. With the guarantee of space, no character in the plot would be suspicious of such strange names. After a few words, Xiao Ming also knew the name of Huang Fiheng's father, Huang Qiying. He was a martial arts master and one of the 10 tigers of Guangdong. He was also an excellent doctor and saved the world. He is very famous in Guangzhou and Foshan. Huang Fiheng spared no effort in praising his father. Huang Qiying couldn't stand it anymore and repeatedly advised him to be humble. It's rare to see quadruplets like the leader. Huang Qiying, a medical master, wants to know more. They are all martial artists and have common topics, so they naturally get familiar with each other. Although Xiao Ming can't use his internal force and can't use the 18 dragon subduing palms. But he once won a reward in the Matrix and downloaded dozens of fighting techniques including boxing. Although they are just basic moves, Xiao Ming's physical fitness is good enough. Even with basic moves, he can show good combat effectiveness. Everyone changed seats. The leader, the left guard and Huang Qiying were chatting happily over there. The right guard and the guard began to brainwash Huang Fiheng. First, the guard confessed that he saw him stealing ginseng. Huang Fiheng was shocked. Although he was young and impulsive, he knew that as long as these people made it public, their Huang family would be in trouble. He thought these people were using this as a threat to ask for money. What should he do? He didn't tell his father about the ginseng he stole. How would he explain it to his father later? Unexpectedly, the guard applauded and praised Huang Fiheng's behavior. At the same time, he said that he didn't like those warlords and foreigners. Then Xiao Ming talked about how the warlords harmed the people and how the foreign invaders oppressed the whole world. These people deserved to be struck by lightning. This made Huang Fiheng regard these 2 people as his confidants. He thought to himself, I said I didn't do it to save that little money. I didn't expect it to be so noble. I am so great. Little did he know that Xiao Ming actually had some complaints about his behavior. But Xiao Ming knew that it might not be useful to point out the mistakes of this kind of angry young man. He might fight with you to the end. The best way is to agree with him first, and then correct his behavior imperceptibly under the pretext of righteousness. It really worked well. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1196. In the most difficult stage of the Warlord War in the early Republic of China, Xiaoming didn't know what to do to save the country. His understanding of politics is about the level of casual chat among old men on the street. For such a complicated problem, he couldn't find a solution at all when his own strength was only D level. Without cheating, Xiaoming is really nothing special. His IQ and talent are both below average. The background of the Earth is different from that of Pangu. There is no reincarnation space, and there seems to be no underworld, let alone heavenly soldiers and generals. So the social order is different. Of course, it may also be that the high-end power in this world is not interested in the Earth and deliberately did not interfere. In this case, how can we save the Chinese people? Xiaoming couldn't think of a good way for a while. The experience of the man from the far island can be learned from, but it cannot be copied. There are many things that Xiaoming alone cannot handle. Even if you give him a great president, he won't be able to become one. Besides, I am just a passerby in this world. Because there is no supernatural energy, Xiaoming cannot use his spiritual power to use Trap Dragon Bracer. This is another problem. Therefore, the leader's guard, Hong Xiaoming, did not have a profound conversation with Huang Fiheng. It just helped him open his eyes and understand the situation in other countries in the world. Even so, Huang Fiheng still felt that a brand new world was coming towards him, which shocked him beyond measure. If this were someone with a more alert mind, they would definitely become suspicious. Why does a guy who doesn't look amazing know so much about the outside world? Huang Fiheng was still a little naive and could not imagine this aspect. Just admire the leader's knowledge and knowledge. The leader, Yin Xiaoming, who was chatting with Huang Qiying on the other side, also only touched on the topic and did not dare to go into details. At the same time, in another seat, Xiao Jing'er and the leader forward, Cheng Xiaoming, have learned the identity of the handsome guy opposite. At that time, the two brothers and sisters were shocked. He turned out to be Marshal Zhang Suiliang, the son of Northeastern Governor Zhang Ziulin. This made Xiaoming think that he had mistaken the protagonist of the plot. The young marshal would not show off his identity everywhere, and he did not hide it on purpose. He just asked the forward brothers and sisters to keep quiet and tell the truth. Zhang Ziulin and Zhang Suiliang are both famous figures. Xiao Jing'er also knew it. Xiaoming also made a set for his sister in the Strange People from Far Island series. Xiao Jing'er's academic performance is far better than Xiaoming's, and she is more clear-headed in analyzing the situation during the Republic of China. She gave some advice and deceived Zhang Suiliang to no avail. Dang even sincerely invited the brother and sister to serve as his staff. Looking at the young marshal's damn handsome face, Xiao Jing'er almost agreed directly. It's a pity that Xiao Jing'er still has the main mission to do and must follow the protagonist Huang Fiheng. All I can say is that I need to think about it and put it off for now. Soon after, the train stopped at a small station. Huang Fiheng was chatting happily with the leader's guard and forgot about the ginseng thing. But he must not forget Xiaoming. If it is based on Xiaoming's original intention. It's just a ginseng stick, we don't need it anymore. But my sister still has to complete her main mission. The task is to assist Huang Fiheng to retrieve the box. This kind of thing will be more troublesome the later it is delayed. Hong Xiaoming drew the shape of a box, pointed to the luxury car, and said to Huang Fiheng, "Brother Fiheng, that thing." Huang Fiheng suddenly realized. I made an excuse with my dad and left my seat. Ji Gyuko knew at a glance that the young master was going to steal something, and wanted to follow him to help. But now there is a more skilled leader's defender and the leader's right guard, Huang Xiaoming. No more chicken bone grass. In addition, the leader's sister, Xiao Jing'er, also joined this thieving army. Huang Fiheng wanted to walk all the way along the train to the luxury compartment. But Xiao Ming forced him out of the car. "Are you kidding me? If you walk over like this and show your face in front of those foreigners, no matter what happens in the future, they will be the first to suspect you. It's not a big deal if you just get back the ginseng, but Xiao Ming doesn't want to just get back a ginseng. The British consul has a lot of good things, and most likely they were exploited from China. Of course, he should get more of them. How can I get to that car more safely?" What Xiao Ming meant was to get out of the car first, run from under the car to the car, and then pry open the window and get in. "Although we don't know which carriage it is, wouldn't we secretly open the window and take a look? Find the right target before taking action." Considering that there might be someone guarding the place, they bought some clothes from the crowd under the train, put them on, and then covered their faces. No one will be able to recognize it. When the time comes, jump into the car as quickly as possible and knock the guard unconscious. Just take the things and leave without anyone noticing. After you succeed, choose a Xiao Ming to escape with the stolen goods and never get in the car again. I will look for an opportunity to go to Guangzhou in the future. The British consul had lost so many things, so he would definitely search the whole car, but he was destined to find nothing. The plan was half-assed, but as soon as they found the carriage full of luggage, they saw a man who looked like an old farmer, saluting, taking a box wrapped in yellow cloth and leaving. It turned out that I met a colleague. Xiao Ming almost thought he was a guard. I really didn't expect that the British consul didn't send anyone to guard so many precious things. Huang Fiheng saw that the box he was holding was exactly the same as the box he used to store his ginseng, so he immediately got into the carriage and tried to snatch it. However, he was grabbed by the guard of the leader who followed him in. This person dared to steal from the British consul, so he must not be an ordinary person. It is even more impossible that he came for Huang Fiheng's ginseng. An explanation should be enough. So he clasped his fists and bowed, saying, "Sir, we are all people in the underworld, and we dare not block your way to wealth. It's just to get back the ginseng that was taken away by the British consul. It's to save lives. Can you do me a favor?" Xiao Ming certainly couldn't say that Huang Fiheng put it in to evade taxes, so he lied that it was taken away by the British consul. This way, he could get some sympathy points. The man hated the British so much that he naturally thought it was credible. When he spoke, he kept his eyes on the box in his hand, which clearly implied that their ginseng was inside. He didn't come to steal ginseng. He immediately opened the box and took a look, and found that it was indeed ginseng. Without saying much, he threw the box to Huang Fiheng and continued to search. He took another box wrapped in yellow cloth, looked at it, nodded and put it in his arms. He turned his eyes to Xiao Ming and others. But he saw that 3 of the 4 people were rummaging through boxes and cabinets, and put valuable things into their arms. The one who came in first did not continue to steal things, but stood guard at the door. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. With the ginseng as evidence, they said that they came to retrieve the ginseng. But it is obvious that their appetite is bigger and they are not satisfied with 1 ginseng. Shouldn't I take more? Robbing the rich to help the poor. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1197. In the original work of Drunken Master 2, Huang Fiheng walked into this carriage from another carriage, only to be mistaken by this person as a lackey working for the British consul. The two even had a big fight. This time everyone came in by jumping out of the car window, and Xiao Ming and his group were rummaging around, so it was obvious that they were thieves. How could there be any misunderstanding? Suddenly, Huang Fiheng, who was in charge of the lookout, said hurriedly, "Someone is coming, run quickly." So 5 people quickly jumped out of the car window. The person who came before Xiaoming and the others did not steal anything else. This person led the way, and the 5 people ran to a thatched shed not far away. Huang Fiheng and others took off their disguises and masks, revealing their true colors. The man first cupped his fists and handed over his hands to the 4 of them. "I, Fu Mingkai, have seen some good men." The 4 of them returned the greeting one after another, saying their names. Huang Fiheng was curious, so he asked, "Master Fu, what is worthy of your special trip to steal? Can you take a look?" This statement was unavoidable and seemed to be spying on secrets, which was inappropriate. Fortunately, Fu Mingkai, who came all the way, admired these young men and women and wanted to take the opportunity to persuade them. Then he said, "To be honest with you, this is the original jade seal of the Qing dynasty emperor. The British consul was ambitious and wanted to smuggle it out of our country." As he spoke, he opened the box. The 4 of them, Xiaoming, said "Ah" in unison, expressing their surprise. Xiaoming brother and sister immediately figured out that this was a slap in the face from the British Hongqiaqiu. Although the Qing dynasty has died, but the jade seal of the previous dynasty is also a national treasure. Being acquired by other countries would bring disgrace to all Chinese people. Huang Fiheng didn't have a good impression of the Qing court, and asked indifferently, "Senior, there have been at least dozens of emperors in China up to the present day. What's the big deal if there is a missing jade seal?" Na Fu Mingkai explained patiently, "He snatched your jade seal today. If you don't stop him, he will demolish your Great Wall tomorrow. Then our descendants who want to see the national treasure may have to go abroad to see it." Then there was another sermon, which meant that in this world, the weak and the strong prey on the weak, and we, China, are being bullied by foreign countries. We Chinese must have backbone and have the courage to resist in order to be respected by others. Huang Fiheng nodded to express his acceptance. After everyone looked at the jade seal for a while and chatted for a while, they heard the whistle sounding and the train was about to leave. Huang Fiheng, the leader's sister, and the leader's guard quickly said goodbye to Fu Mingkai and left. Fu Mingkai looked at the right guard of the leader who had not left and asked, "What? You don't want to get in the car? It will be too late if it is later." Huang Xiaoming pointed at the stolen goods on the table and smiled bitterly, "With these things here, I will definitely not be able to go back. I plan to sell these things to help the people. I also want to help myself." By the way, Huang Xiaoming was embarrassed to say these words in his heart. When people steal things, they are picky. When they heard that someone was coming, a few people grabbed a large handful, stuffed them into their arms and rushed out. When we got together, there was a big table full. I'm afraid it's not easy to make a move. Fu Mingkai was very satisfied with the right guard's answer. He also saw that this man had excellent muscles and bones and was a good material for martial arts training, so he immediately became interested in talents. He opened his mouth and asked, "Young man, I think you are a good young man. How about you? Are you willing to learn from me?" If he said this to Huang Fiheng, he would definitely make Huang Fiheng angry. "Just kidding, who are you? Dare you be my master?" He must have a fight first and then decide whether to learn or not. But Xiaoming is different. If there are 3 of us together, we must have my teacher. If someone is willing to teach, he is willing to learn. Whether the other party taught you well or not, you will just have to taste it slowly in the future. Even if you express your willingness. Only then did Fu Mingkai reveal his identity. It turns out that he is the last martial arts practitioner in Manchuria, and his kung fu is nothing to speak of. What's even more rare is that he had no intention of restoring the Qing dynasty. The purpose of stealing the jade seal this time was purely to protect the national treasure. There is no intention to take credit from the royal family. If he thought highly of the Qing emperor, he would not have allowed Xiaoming and others to visit the jade seal at will. It can be seen that Fu Mingkai is different from those old and young people of the Manchu Qing dynasty. He got the jade seal, but he had no intention of returning it to the royal family of Ixangelua. He only planned to find a reliable place to hide it until the world was at peace. The right guard said that after selling these treasures, he would go all the way south to Guangzhou to join his brothers. Fu Mingkai had nothing to do, so he was willing to go south with his right guard after hiding the jade seal. Teach martial arts along the way. Xiao Ming was also very touched that he could do this as a human being. In fact, Xiao Ming doesn't know that as a martial arts master, he attaches great importance to the inheritance of martial arts. Finding a good apprentice is difficult. The leader's right guard has first-class physical fitness, and it would be great if he could pass on his own martial arts. That's why Fu Mingkai is so good at it. They didn't say anything about their journey, except that Huang Fiheng, Lu Xiajing and the leader's guard hurried back to the train. The train had already started, but luckily it wasn't very fast. At the rear door, Marshal Zhang Suiliang was waiting for them. Pulled the three people into the car one by one. He also teased Huang Fiheng, "Did you get your things back?" It turned out that when Huang Fiheng was secretly hiding something, not only Xiao Ming saw it, but the young marshal also saw it. After returning to the carriage, several people grouped up to discuss the previous topics. As for the missing right guard, Xiao Ming's excuse was that he had already arrived at the station and got off the train. Main Mission 1 is officially completed. However, because Xiao Ming changed the plot, Main Mission 2 was not released at this time. In the original work, Fu Mingkai and Huang Fiheng actually took the wrong thing, and the jade seal was taken back by Huang Fiheng. As a result, the British consul found that something was missing and quickly ordered people to search the carriage, and Huang Fiheng almost exposed himself. It was only thanks to the help of the young marshal that he was able to get away with it. But because of this, the people who worked for the British consul remembered Huang Fiheng's family. It is conceivable that the British consul lost more property this time, so naturally he had to send people to search. However, the Huang family's luggage was full of medicinal materials, so it didn't matter if they searched it. He didn't remember the Huang family in particular. The original task for players to help Huang Fiheng was not issued, because it was no longer needed. The Chinese who worked for the British consul was named Tan Chang. As a Chinese, he served as a running dog for foreigners and bullied Chinese people with his nose in the sky. Xiao Ming didn't like him very much. More importantly, looking at his steps and body shape, you can tell that he is also a master. Such a character is probably one of the big villains in this world. Xiao Ming must pay more attention to it. With books, it is long; without books, it is short. This train departs from Changchunbao Station in the northeast and goes all the way south to Guangzhou. Huang Qiying's family and the British consul all got off at the terminal. Young Marshal Zhang Suiliang got off the bus halfway and left his address and contact information to Xiao Jing'er and the leader Jianfeng before leaving, hoping that they would agree to his request after careful consideration. Xiao Ming and his sister and others also received Huang Qiying's sincere invitation and followed him to Baijilan to stay for a few days. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1198. Congratulations to the reincarnation Lu Xiaojing. The main task to become Huang Qiying's apprentice has been completed. The reminder sound of the space sounded in my sister's mind. The main task 2 is very simple. Before, when Fu Mingkai, a martial arts candidate, saw the physique of the leader's right guard, he was very impressed and offered to teach him martial arts. Huang Qiying was the same at this time. Xiao Ming and others have good physical fitness, which is the best Huang Qiying has ever seen in his life. Even his own son is slightly inferior. The only one with poor health is the leader's guard. As early as on the train, Huang Qiying had the idea of accepting disciples and passing on martial arts. But he was reserved and embarrassed to take the initiative to accept disciples. But I didn't expect that the main task of the reincarnation space for my sister was to become a disciple. Xiao Jing'er mentioned this to him and was immediately accepted. By the way, the leader, the leader's left guard, the leader's guard, and the leader's forward also worshipped Huang Qiying as their master. Huang Qiying taught several Xiaoming martial arts and medical skills, while Mrs. Huang taught the leader's sister. After all, there is a difference between men and women. Xiao Jing'er is a modern person who doesn't care much about such things, but Huang Qiying and his wife must be cautious. Mrs. Huang is not Huang Fiheng's biological mother. Huang Fiheng always calls her Xioma. She is relatively young and lively. Huang Qiying is a steady person, but also relatively dull. Now that a female disciple has come, Mrs. Huang is very happy. She is with Xiao Jing'er all day long, not only teaching skills, but also learning from each other. The leader and others are simply geniuses in martial arts, with good eyesight and can see clearly the movements taught by the master. They have good memory and basically don't need to learn a second time after being taught once. They have good physical fitness and can do any movement in one step. The most amazing thing is that there are many observation angles, like the 6 paths of pain. The vision covers each other and there is no blind spot. When learning martial arts, observe from multiple angles, practice by yourself and have others to help correct, which will definitely achieve twice the result with half the effort. Huang Qiying called him a genius. Among them, only the leader's forward is slightly worse. But the souls of several Xiaomings are common. If others can do it, he will also do it. It's just that the strength is a little bit weaker. Huang Qiying and his wife felt that they had accepted several good disciples. In just 7 or 8 days, these people learned all kinds of Huang family kung fu. Most martial artists of this period had the habit of cherishing their own skills. When the master taught the apprentice, he would usually keep a few tricks, for fear that the apprentice would starve to death. Some tricks can only be passed on to the direct disciples. Huang Qiying was different. On the way back to Guangzhou by train, he talked a lot with the leader and others. After returning to Beijing, he continued to discuss. Master Huang had a very good impression of several reincarnations, and also changed some of his own ideas to a certain extent. This was all thanks to Xiaoming's brother and sister. Therefore, in terms of teaching martial arts, he did not hide anything. He taught with all his heart, and even passed down the drunken boxing. Seeing that the leader and others had a high comprehension and could learn it once they learned it, he explained the characteristics of the drunken boxing in detail one by one. The emphasis of the drunken boxing is on the word drunk. When you really practice drunken boxing, you must drink. But if you drink too much, you will get drunk. You can't even stand steadily, let alone hit someone. Drinking less is not good either. You have to drink just enough so that alcohol can play an exciting and anesthetic role. You have more strength when hitting someone, and you don't feel pain when being hit. So drunk boxing will give people an illusion of power. But people who drink know that the more you drink, the more alcohol you drink. It's not worth becoming a drunkard just to practice drunk boxing. Water can carry a boat, but it can also overturn it. There are good and bad things in a thing. So drunk boxing should not be used easily. If you really want to practice it, you must have the right purpose. In general, if you don't drink, an opponent who can be beaten by drunk boxing can also be beaten by other boxing methods. Drinking and practicing drunk boxing is when facing a strong enemy. When you can't beat him in a normal fight, you use alcohol to help. It sounds a bit like stimulants, but the effect is much better, and the harm to the human body is also very minor. This principle seems simple, but it is actually profound. Everything has its pros and cons. This is the case with drunk boxing, and the same is true for martial arts. Everything must have a correct purpose. If learning martial arts is only used for fighting and ranking who is first and who is second, then it is just like drinking, which is harmful to others and yourself. This Huang Qiying is worthy of being a master of his generation. Not only is his martial arts profound, but his mentality is the most rare. Xiaoming and others are all open-minded to learn. A few days later, Xiao Jing'er's last main task was released. To defeat the fishmonger Chan on behalf of Huang Fiheng. At this time, it happened that Xiao Jing'er and several Xiaomings followed their senior brother Huang Fiheng to the vegetable market to buy vegetables. In terms of martial arts, there is actually nothing much to learn. The only difference is hard practice every day. Everyone became Huang Qiying's apprentice, and they must help with some chores in Beijing. There was no time in the first few days because of teaching martial arts. Today, everyone came out together to get to know the neighbors and relax. The market was very lively. Buyers set up stalls on both sides of the street, and people walked in the middle. Many neighbors got up early in the morning to go to the market, hoping to buy some fresh chickens, ducks, and vegetables. Xiaoming actually doesn't like crowded places, because they are too noisy. His sister is better, after all, girls have a talent for shopping. As they walked in the market, they heard a man and a woman talking in the distance. Huang Fiheng recognized the two and introduced them to the leader. The man was Chan, a fish seller, and his Califo boxing skills were quite extraordinary. The woman was Fen, a snake seller, and her snake boxing skills were also pretty good. The two of them were about the same age as Huang Fiheng, and they both practiced martial arts, so they were naturally familiar with each other. Chan is obviously interested in Fen and wants to trick Fen into learning boxing from him. Fen probably has a crush on Huang Fiheng and wants to learn drunken boxing. So Chan said something that was not as good as Califo except for drunken boxing. It is common for martial artists to have bad tempers, not to mention that they are hormonal. Although Huang Fiheng heard it, he didn't mind. But Chan wanted to show off his skills in front of his sweetheart. So he forced Huang Fiheng to fight him to see whether Califo was better or drunken boxing was better. This was very ignorant. Because the two of them were not worthy of representing Califo and drunken boxing. Even if they won or lost, what would it matter? Before Huang Fiheng could speak, Xiao Jing'er rushed out and said, "If you want to fight with my senior brother, you have to get past me first." She was not a person who was willing to cause trouble, and fighting for a moment was not in line with Huang Qiying's teachings. But the task arranged by the space was like this, and the sister had no choice. The leader and others naturally watched from the side. Xiaoming was not worried about his sister at all. As the saying goes, a fist fears a young man, and a stick fears an old wolf. When the reincarnations fight, they are most afraid of encountering old foxes like Fu Mingkai and Huang Qiying. They can bully you with their experience. Young people like Ken are easier to deal with. Although he is young and strong, he is definitely not Xiao Jing'er's opponent in terms of physical fitness. The outcome of this battle has been decided before it has even started. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1199. Cai Li Fo Quan is one of the southern fists in traditional Chinese boxing. It combines the strengths of Cai Jia Quan, Li Jia Quan and Fo Jia Quan to form a new school, hence the name. It has many routines and rich content. The techniques focus on the coordination of attack and defense. The footwork is flexible and steady, and the power is strong but soft. It emphasizes the coordination of voice and action, requiring voice to boost power and voice to boost momentum. The movements are stretched and generous, and the boxing is magnificent. Ken is naturally majestic and murderous when fighting. But facing Xiao Jing'er, a girl in her 20s, he can't be fierce at all. Originally, he didn't want to fight with his sister. It would be unfair to win, and it would be even more embarrassing to lose. However, his sister's mission is to beat Ken, so she had to rush forward to fight. Ken couldn't just take a beating without fighting back. So the two of them still fought. As soon as they fought, Ken knew that he underestimated the leader's sister. A girl who looks so weak, her arms are as hard as steel. When their arms collided, Ken felt a slight pain in his arm. He didn't know that this was the result of his sister deliberately holding back 2 points of strength. In terms of martial arts, Xiao Jing'er was stronger than Ken, and Ken was unwilling to be ruthless to girls, so the more they fought, the more they suffered. After only a dozen moves, Ken's arm began to hurt. However, his sister was a little addicted to fighting, and her strength gradually increased. Xiao Ming saw clearly from the side that if the fight continued, Ken's hands would probably be broken. Therefore, the leader and the left guard jumped forward and blocked the two, stopping the fight. Okay, let's stop. This round is a tie. At this time, the sister also received a reminder from the space that her task had been completed, so she naturally stopped fighting. Ken on the other side also gave up, and the two sides ended in a draw. In fact, several discerning people present knew that Xiao Jing'er had won. So the space acknowledged that Xiao Jing'er had completed the task. The sister felt that this world was not of much value, so she did not use the task card to stay. Directly exited the world of Drunken Master 2. In the eyes of the characters in the plot, the leader's sister had left because of something in her hometown. Xiao Ming felt that he still had some unfulfilled wishes to fulfill, so he used an E-level task card to extend the time for 7 days. That night, Fu Mingkai, the last martial arts candidate in Manchuria, came to Beijing. But the leader's right guard did not come with him. It turned out that after getting off the train, Fu Mingkai hid the Jade Seal first, and then went south to Guangzhou with the right guard, teaching him martial arts along the way. By the way, he sold the stolen treasures to help the poor people. Along the way, Xiao Ming witnessed with his own eyes the suffering of the Chinese people during this period. After 2 or 3 days, he had an idea in his mind to make a career in this world. For nothing else, he planned to deal with the warlords who were harming the country, expel those imperialist countries, and let the Chinese people live a good life. But this is very difficult. Xiao Ming, who cannot use supernatural energy, will die if he is hit by a few bullets. It is too dangerous to do business in this world. Besides, he didn't have the brains, didn't have the political ability, and couldn't even think of the most suitable route for China now. This made Xiao Ming very frustrated. He had a lot of knowledge and experience, but he couldn't save the country. What should he do? Suddenly, the book The Strange Man on the Far Island reminded Xiao Ming. Although he didn't have the ability, he could write a book to enlighten the people. No, it shouldn't be said to enlighten the people. It would be bad to leak the secret. The wisdom of a few patriotic elites should be enlightened. The first person Xiao Ming thought of was not Huang Qiying or Huang Fiheng, but the young Marshal Zhang Suiliang. If he knew the general direction of the world in the next few decades, I wonder if China could avoid some detours. In addition, Huang Qiying and Fu Mingkai could also get a copy, and they would be responsible for handing it over to the right person in the future. Why didn't Xiao Ming do this himself? Of course, it was because he had a limited time to stay in this world. He did what he said. After practicing martial arts on weekdays, at night, several Xiao Mings would write furiously. Write down everything they thought was useful for saving the country. Unfortunately, when my sister completed all the main tasks, the book was still not finished. There was really too much to write. So, Xiao Ming used the task card to add 7 days. The right guard gave the manuscript he wrote to Fu Mingkai and asked him to take it to Beijing. He walked towards poetry and the distance. Just kidding, the right guard actually went to explore the border of the reincarnation world. If he could cross the border within 7 days and reach a world with a higher energy level, wouldn't it be possible to recharge the trapped dragon wristband? In that case, you can stay as long as you want. You don't have to worry about not finishing the book. When Xiao Ming thought of this, he blamed himself a little. Why didn't he do it earlier? Maybe now he has found the border of the world. I can only say that learning martial arts with Fu Mingkai is too interesting. This last martial arts candidate in Manchuria is also a master-level master. Many of his martial arts concepts are even helpful for the strategy of the Legend of the Condor Heroes and other secret realms. Xiao Ming is too obsessed with learning. Seeing that they had already reached Guangzhou, Fu Mingkai would be able to reach Baijilan today. In this way, the others could also learn from him. Xiao Ming then remembered the matter of the world border. So the leader's right guard did not enter Guangzhou city at all. After entrusting the manuscript to Fu Mingkai, he walked away. The work of exploring the world border is completely a matter of luck. Xiao Ming did not know which direction was closer to the border, so he could only guess blindly. Fu Mingkai borrowed the manuscripts written by the right guard every day to read. After a few days, he was full of admiration for the right guard. These words are the hope of China. In comparison, his own kung fu is not worth mentioning at all. He plans to follow the left and right and save China from now on. So when the right guard entrusted the manuscript to him, he took the stack of papers solemnly with a sense of mission and vowed to protect it with his life. After Fu Mingkai came to Baijilan, he was welcomed by Huang Qiying. So Huang Qiying also saw this manuscript. When he learned that several new apprentices who worshipped under him were also writing similar things, he was shocked. The two masters immediately turned into urging people to update. I won't say anything. What martial arts are you guys still practicing? Hurry up and finish the set of books for me. You are not allowed to practice Kung Fu if you don't finish it. The manuscripts written at the same time were sorted out by the two of them. They knew the importance of these words and did not dare to let others handle them. They read and bound them personally and kept them properly. Just waiting to finish the book. Of course, Xiao Ming couldn't rewrite the strange man from the far island, he just planned to write down all the things he thought were important. On the seventh day, he still felt that there was still a lot to write, and the right guard hadn't reached the border yet. He had to use 2 more A-level task cards to extend the time for 5 days. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1200. On the second day after Xiao Ming used the mission card to extend the time, the leader's right guard rode a mule to the border of the world of Drunken Master 2. Some people may ask why he rode a mule instead of other means of transportation, such as trains or ships. This is because Xiao Ming does not understand the situation of this mission world, and sometimes the means of transportation may belong to the mission world. For example, at the beginning of this world, everyone took the train. The reincarnation is in the train, so it has always been in the world. Because of uncertainty, the leader's right guard got a mule, and this kind of animal will definitely not have the same situation as on the train. In fact, getting a car is also fine. But Xiao Ming is afraid that it will run out of gas after driving for a while. In the wilderness, where can I go to refuel? And cars are very expensive in this era. The right guard can't afford it, and he doesn't want to rob, so he has no choice but to use animals. When he came to the border of the world, Xiao Ming was very excited. It was not easy. It's better to have a world with a high energy level. It's easy to find the border quickly. Unfortunately, this happiness did not last long. After crossing the border, Xiao Ming felt it and knew that it was over. The energy level of the new world is the same as that of the world of Drunken Master 2, which means that the dragon wrist guard cannot be used. It is okay to find the next border, but it is nothing more than wasting more mission cards. Anyway, Xiao Ming basically does not need it. But if he can't use it, he can give it to others, or even exchange it with major forces. It is a loss to waste it like this. Epsilon equals Omicron asterisk, oh, forget it. Xiao Ming gave up. Speaking of which, if Xiaoming continues to search, there are still other ways. For example, there is a good chance that he can go out by train or ship in several groups. However, Xiaoming's spirit is gone. Nothing is difficult in the world as long as you are willing to give up. There is no need to do so many tricks for a mission world. In these few days, I should be able to write down what I want to write. In fact, by the third day, Xiaoming could not find much to write. There was no inspiration that could make him write like a spring. Occasionally, I think of something and write a little. If I don't have any inspiration, I won't write. Seeing this, Fu Mingkai and Huang Qiying took Xiaoming's manuscript and left. This was a plan they had discussed long ago. The original manuscript must be properly hidden. Then find someone who is absolutely trustworthy to copy several copies. One of them will be sent to Zhang Suiliang by Fu Mingkai. Huang Qiying will ask his fellow practitioners to guard the other few copies, and in the future, according to the instructions of the leader, they will be handed over to several specific people. As for who they are, I believe there is no need to say it clearly. But by then, Xiaoming should have left this world. On the fourth day, Xiaoming's several bodies came out to let off steam together. He was so annoyed by writing so many days of calligraphy. Now he wanted to vomit when he saw the pen, ink, paper, and inkstone. He was wandering in the yard, and Akin jumped over the wall with another man who looked a little handsome. Ah Chan knew the leader and the others, but he was a little confused about who was who among the twins, and asked anxiously, "It's you, hey, where's Fi Hung? There's something urgent." How did Huang Fi Hung find the leader's yard? This is what happened. Huang Qiying knew that what the leader and the others wrote was very important. So he asked Huang Fi Hung to give up his small yard to the leader and others to write, and strictly ordered that no outsiders were allowed to enter the yard. Fu Mingkai also lived here, and he was responsible for protecting the few people and urging them to update. Huang Fi Hung came once or twice, but he didn't dare to come again after being beaten by Fu Mingkai. The man Ah Chan brought was called Huo's Hung, who worked in a steel factory opened by the British consul. A few days ago, he felt that those foreigners seemed to be plotting something. So he told Ah Chan and Huang Fi Hung about it. Last night, he and Xin Shu, a worker at the steel factory, secretly went to check, and found that the British consul was actually trying to smuggle a batch of Chinese national treasures disguised as steel products. Although some items including the imperial seal were stolen by Fu Mingkai and Xiaoming, there were still many national treasures in his hands. The British consul searched for several days but could not find the lost items. They did not suspect Baozhilan, but suspected the young Marshal Zhang Suiliang who got off the car earlier. If those things were stolen by Zhang Suiliang, he would have to admit that he was unlucky. After all, this matter was not fair. He even had to worry about whether Zhang Suiliang would send people to steal other national treasures. So he arranged to smuggle these national treasures out earlier than in the original book. Before that, the people in the British consulate had no time to conflict with Baozhilan. Unexpectedly, the matter was not kept secret enough. The steel plant originally employed Chinese people. In order to have people, they first drove away all the workers and then used their own people to load the things. The British consul's arrangement naturally aroused the suspicion of the workers in the steel plant. Huo's Hung had come to talk to Huang Fi Hung once before. Last night, Huo's Hung and Xingshu finally found an opportunity to sneak into the steel plant to investigate. Sure enough, they discovered the secret. However, they were also seen by the British. Uncle Xing and other workers fought to protect Huo's Hung and sent him out. Huo's Hung found Ah Chan, treated his injuries, and came to see Huang Fi Hung early this morning. Since the two of them didn't know about the change of residence, they climbed over the wall and happened to meet Xiaoming. Upon hearing this, Xiaoming knew in his heart that this should be a big task in the reincarnation space. It's just that he is a VIP, and the space didn't give him a task. Since it has come to this, I can't just ignore it. Tomorrow is my last day in this world, so it doesn't matter if I die. So the leader, the leader's left guard, the leader's rear guard, the leader's forward, Huang Fi Hung, Akan, Huo's Hung, Afen, some other friends, and the employees of the steel plant, all went to the steel plant in a mighty manner to stop the British conspiracy. If you want to do your job well, you must first sharpen your tools. After all, the other party has a gun. Xiao Ming asked Huo's Hung to spread the news and prepare more steel plates and other things that can block guns. Reduce casualties. The workers in the steel plant are very strong, and it is not a problem to lift such things in a short time. That night, everyone gathered at the gate of the steel plant. Two groups of people were confronting each other. On one side were the British, and some ruffians and traitors they hired. On the other side were the workers of the steel plant, and some ordinary people mobilized by Aken and others. Of course, they were not the kind of people who were powerless. In addition to selling fish, Aken also taught some young people to practice boxing and accepted many apprentices. At this time, they all started. The current situation is still at a stalemate. The British have guns, and if a fight breaks out, the people will definitely suffer. However, they are unwilling to kill people before the incident gets out of hand. They don't care about human lives, but they are worried about getting into trouble. Once the incident gets out of hand, the people from the nationalist government will come, and the smuggling will be easily exposed. So for the time being, they are just threatening, hoping to scare these people away with guns.